I'm going to go over the reporting requirements for this year. Currently, the reporting requirements for ODE and ODJFS licensed programs are for those ECE funded children and children receiving preschool special education services. And to meet that requirement, you have the 10 learning progressions. Now this year it's the 10 skills, knowledges, and behaviors, but it's still the same 10 learning progressions. That's what you will use to report. Emis and EAS are the two main data warehouse systems that are used to collect and store the ELA data. Programs that are serving children funded by the Early Childhood Education or ECE or the Preschool Special Education PSE are required to report and complete the ELA scores for the fall and spring administration windows. Now for the 2021 school year only, the minimum requirement has changed. We have that information on our webpage, and we've been sharing that information with all of our trainings with our teachers, and it's been shared in multiple communications. So hopefully everybody knows that it's the 10 skills, knowledge, and behaviors that you are reporting this year. All programs may use the ELA. It's only the ODE and ODJFS licensed programs that are required to report on those funded children. If you need more information about where you report, like if you're not exactly sure if you report to Emis or to EAS, or if you're going to give data back to the district to report, we do have a document that's on our webpage, and our team is happy to help with any questions that you have about that. The next few slides, I'm just going to show you the specific dates that are for each data collection. The assessment windows remain the same each year. We have never changed those dates. They're designated for each season: fall, winter, spring, summer. Now the reporting windows are determined by the Education Management Information System, or EMIS, and the Enterprise Application System, or EAS. So sometimes you notice you have different end dates for when data has to be reported, and it's because we have those two systems. The K-Ready data collection window follows the assessment window start and end dates. So as you see for fall, the data collection was November 14th, and that's when it ended, and that's the last date that teachers can enter assessment data. And data managers, as Ed said, though, you will have some time to do some cleanup through the 21st, and then the score report that you will use to report scores, that will be available starting November 23rd. That score report in the K-Ready system is still called the Learning Progression Score Report. And although it's only pulling from those 10 SKBs, it's the same report that we've had in previous years. It's just pulling from those 10 skills, knowledges, and behaviors now. Okay. And if you have any questions about that, we've got the Q&A where you can put your questions. And so the next slide has the optional winter data collection. This is new this year. We did not have a winter data collection last year. This is the first time we've done this, and it is optional. But that window opens on November 15th. So again, it follows the same timeline as the administration. If you were to do the assessment in the winter, using it formatively with your children, you would start on November 15th and go through February 14th. So the K-Ready system data collection will follow the same beginning and end date. And for programs who choose to use this optional data collection, data managers will have to reload an enrollment using the winter data collection token. We will share information with data managers when that becomes available, but that will open on November 15th, which is the day after the fall window closes. So we have a seamless start, stop process this year. In the spring, this is the other required assessment window. So this one is required for your preschool special education or your ECE funded children. That collection will open on February 15th. Okay, let me go back to the winter one. This one opens November 15th. That's when you can add that if you choose to use it, but you will not report that data to Emis or EAS. You will not report optional winter data. The spring data collection, though, is required. And so that opens on February 15th. You cannot start entering spring data until the spring window opens. And that's when that spring assessment runs February 15th through May 14th. And that's when teachers can enter data. Again, this will require another data collection token. That token won't be available until later this winter, closer to the spring data collection window. So this is how the K-Ready system data collection works for this school year. As I mentioned, the Emis and EAS reporting dates, those are set by those systems. So we have an Emis calendar, and we also have an FY21 grantee manual. You can always find them on the ODE's website if you search Emis calendar or ECE FY21 grantee manual. But notice that the dates are different. For programs that report into Emis, you report that data twice. You report fall assessment data by April 2nd, and you report your spring assessment data by August 27th. Emis reporting dates may change at any time. That's why the link to the Emis calendar is helpful, because if there is a change, you can find it on there. And you can get on the Emis subscription list if you want to get the notifications from Emis when they make updates to the calendar. For the ECE programs that are reporting into EAS, both fall and spring assessment data must be entered by June 30th. But if you're not using K-Ready, you have to use something else to get the data organized to push through to Emis or EAS, and we have that optional bridge form. We hope that you are taking advantage of the K-Ready system. The bridge form has been updated this year, so please make sure you are using the most updated bridge form. The majority of you are using the ELA as your comprehensive assessment, and you are using the K-Ready system for documenting locally and then getting that learning progression score report or reporting your data to the state. That's great. If you are only using the ELA, maybe for a small population, we understand some of you might still be using the bridge form. If you'd like to learn more about using the K-Ready system, though, please reach out to our team between ODE and the Management Council. We're ready to get you set up in the K-Ready system so that you and your teachers can start using that. So if you're using the bridge form, it's a spreadsheet where teachers will enter their student information and the 10 SKBs. There's a report that's generated either on an EAS Data Manager report tab or the Emis Data Manager report tab. And we encourage you to communicate locally if you're using this form so that your data is accurate before you report that student into Emis or EAS. If you're using K-Ready, I showed you already and explained to you the steps that you need to do. You've got those 2 programs that are available to you. When you get the data, you might be seeing some things like ends or even blanks. What do you do when the score report shows an N? So in the ELA, there are 9 level descriptors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D. And those represent typical milestones of child development. But sometimes a teacher is unable to determine a score for an SKB for a child. And when a teacher is not able to determine a score for a child on an SKB, the teacher might enter an N or an NE. So sometimes you might see N's coming out on your bridge form or in the learning progression score report from K-Ready. When you see an N, you cannot submit an N to Emis or EAS. Okay, what will have to happen is the Emis coordinator will have to enter star, star, star in a reason code. Same thing if you have a blank. Maybe teachers weren't able to get the data and the evidence necessary to provide a score. That's something that we've been hearing, and it might happen. We encourage teachers to try their best. And we know that things are happening remotely, And so in some cases, you might not be able to get all of the evidence necessary to determine a rating. And so in these cases, if the SKB is left blank in the bridge form or the K-Ready system, and you see any zeros, or if a score had an N for not scorable or not yet evident, those are not valid scores for Emis or EAS. You will need to report star, 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 and a reason code for the score not reported. Now, in the Emis manual, there are a lot of valid reason codes. So you will want to look through those options, select the reason that best fits the situation. Reason F should only be used if no other reason code is appropriate. And the reason codes are closer to the back of that Emis manual. But again, only use reason code F if no other valid reason code applies.
All right, so yes, what you guys are all referring to kind of double check those demographics and see what was uploaded for those students. We're gonna go back over on the left to reports, where I was already on the page, select the drop down arrow, and you wanna go to data downloads. So let's say you wanna check on those students and check and see what demographics and what information was put in for those students. So then go ahead and request. Now it's gonna be green, saying this was successfully requested. Go ahead and download that report. And once that pulls up, so you're going to see what was entered in for the student. So we can see the IEP was entered. There wasn't a lot of genders here uploaded. There was no race uploaded. So you can go back at that point, you know what's been uploaded, and then go ahead and create a new bulk load. Go ahead and create a template for the student. And as you can see, I did just the required fields, just this one. So I want to upload all that info. You're going to select all fields template, and you'll download that where that has all the information for the race and gender, and then the IEP and all of that down at the back. So you can do more information there.